Another Tuesday, another Twilight Zone episode. This week's episode is A Stop at Willoughby. I am excited to talk about this one. I did not remember it when I watched it. And once it got to the end, I thought, I cannot fucking wait to talk to the internet about this episode. This episode opens with a bunch of businessmen in a meeting. It seems very tense. They're waiting for this guy to show up. They get a note that the guy they're waiting for is done. He resigned, and he's taking their biggest account with him. This seems like some Mad Men shit. The boss starts yelling at Grant. Seems like maybe this was before HR, or like HR wasn't really a big deal at this point because he's really going off on him. And then Grant says, "Hey, fat man," and then like kind of has some words for him, and then he takes off. Then we cut to he's on a train. It's snowing. Perfect episode for right now for me because it's snowy. He falls asleep and he wakes up on an empty train in Willoughby in July of 1888. Then he gets kind of like jostled and thrown back a little bit. Like he's still on the train. And then he wakes up and he's back on the first train, the snowy train again. He goes home. He's drinking. His wife is giving him a really hard time for what he did at work, which like I understand because she's worried that he ruined his career, but also like good for him for standing up to that fucking asshole. But now he's sitting there thinking, all of this that I'm dealing with, it would be great to be back in Willoughby. Then he's like back on the train, falls asleep, goes to Willoughby, wakes up, back on the other train again, kind of like a back and forth with this guy. And then he says the next time he dreams about Willoughby, he is getting off of the train. Now we cut to, he's at his job again. He has two phones, like two landline phones, remember? And they all have like multiple lines on them. He's talking on both. And then his secretary comes in and is trying to like tell him things over the two conversations he's having, which like doesn't seem like a great secretary to me, but this would overwhelm me. I would freak out and go to Willoughby also. But anyway, he's overwhelmed. He is on the train again, falls asleep, wakes up on the train to Willoughby, and he gets off in Willoughby. And he's talking to these two kids saying, "I'm going to go fishing with you tomorrow." Everybody seems like pretty chill and laid back here. He's going to have a great time. Then we cut to what really happened. He's laying in the snow because they say apparently he yelled something about Willoughby and jumped off the train, instantly died. And I don't know why, it is just so funny to me, like imagining a man like on a train just going, "Willoughby," and like jumping off into the snow. I thought that was funny. They put his body into a hearse, and on the back of the hearse, it says Willoughby and Son Funeral Home. I loved this episode so much because I didn't remember it. So I didn't know what exactly was going to happen at the end. I didn't know what Willoughby was going to be. You know it's something. I thought it had something to do with death, but I didn't know that it was going to be the name of the funeral home. I thought that was amazing. I loved this one so much. This is definitely an episode that could work today. It would have to be a little bit different, but it is definitely a story that could still work today, especially with feeling overworked and overwhelmed, and then you're daydreaming about death, essentially, except you're dreaming about Willoughby, which is like just such a funny name to me. The fact that he yelled Willoughby and jumped off the train, I thought is just beyond funny, you guys. Thank you for listening to me talk about another episode of The Twilight Zone. If you like listening to these, Make sure to subscribe. I do them every Tuesday. I love that we can still have discussions on a show that is from the 60s and it's still fun and interesting and can still like make us have a good conversation. Next week I'm talking about the episode The Chaser. This is another one that I don't remember, so let's discover it together in the Twilight Zone.